I'm not trying to say like doing chemo is amazing. You know what I'm saying? By any means, no. The Jamaican lady in the back. Can you please cook me some real chicken? First, like I said, I was looking at it like, hey, this ain't gonna be nothing. You know, this is gonna be nothing. And they say, oh, really? Got me in a chokehold.
Go to sleep.
Crackhead, bro. I was a crackhead, bro. I saw I was a crackhead, bro. My brain was wide awake.
Yeah.
Like a crackhead. And I'm phasing in and out of tiredness. And I look over to my left and I see this figure. And it's like
right in the corner. This corner is pitch black.
Started treating you for your blood cancer.
right.
So what happened after that? You got two cancers. You got blood cancer and you got a tumor.
So I got lymphoma.
Yeah.
So I had a acute lymphoblastic lymphoma as well.
Yeah.
So everything that happened with that first cancer when I'm convulsing,
Yeah.
and I was supposed to I thought I was gonna be 3 months in, bruv. I did chemo once,
Yeah.
failed.
Yeah.
So it failed the first time. Like my chemo didn't work.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like it was very.
And it's aggressive as well.
Very aggressive.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, it's supposed to be specifically treated for your specific kind of cancer. My cancer was super rare.
Yeah.
First off, it's a blood cancer. It usually doesn't show as many physical problems like lumps.
Yeah.
So what happened is they were like that was weird in itself, like the fact that I've got a physical lump growing outside my neck. That's not common thing to see with leukemia. This is really peculiar. Then all of a sudden they give me this chemo, doesn't work.
Yeah.
And they say, okay, we'll try again. First month, you know, it's a bit hard. You know, it took its toll on me, but they were like two weeks, you get a breather.
Yeah.
You know, go home, enjoy yourself, just like relax for a bit. I was like, alright, cool, I'll be blessed. You know? Second time comes around, they're like, okay, we're gonna give you the same chemo again. We'll see how it works this time. And bruv, that month was amazing. Oh my, that was some of the best sleep I've ever had in my life.
Oh yeah, you still,
Bruv, that. I'm not trying to say like doing chemo is amazing. You know what I'm saying? By any means, no. I'm just trying to say that month personally for me, bro. It was like I think the first season of Stranger Things first came out.
Yeah.
I had my MacBook and I was just playing video games.
Yeah.
Bro, they were cooking me grilled chicken because I was like, I don't want to eat your hospital food. It tastes like rubbish, bro.
Yeah.
This is dirty. I was like, I'm not eating none of this, right? You're giving me like, you know that rice that's like hard rubber rice,
East
bro.
London.
Yeah, that rubber rice was they tried to serve me this salmon dish and I was like, bro, this is dry. This ain't got no flavor. There ain't no seasoning. I don't even see damn salt there. So then I was thinking to myself, what is this? So I had to say the Jamaican lady in the back. Can you please cook me some real chicken, please? I don't know what they're trying to serve you up in here, but you know, oven fish and chips is not the one. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I need to. You see me, I see you. You know, I need some seasoning up in here, baby. And she was just like, okay, honey, I'll get you. And bro, it was like that month I was getting some delicious chicken, some food. Oh.
Yeah. So it's best from Barbara.
Oh yes.
Yeah, man.
Bro, I was getting some like grilled chicken with some potatoes and like really like chipotle mayo sauce.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was blissful. You know, I'm chilling, I'm sleeping for 10 hours a day. I wake up at 1 p.m. I go to sleep. I go wake up again. I'm like, yo, this is blessed. You know, like, and I was like, I had friends coming over.
It's like my wife when she gets the tooth. She loves getting the tooth taken out because. And she's had a tooth taken out, trust me. Yeah. Because she goes, oh, I can't wait to get that anesthetic, man. That's what
Bruh. Oh, that was one of the best things as well, bro.
She's out for 10 minutes, yeah? And she feels like she's been out for like 2 years.
Bro.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, moving on, yeah? So what about your second cancer now?
Oh, so it's the second cancer. So after the second month had done, failed again. Right?
Again.
So even though as much as fun I had, the chemo failed again.
Yeah.
So then they put me on this next cancer treatment, experimental chemotherapy. And this stuff it looked like purple grape juice, you know, in the bag. So I'm like, oh yeah, this purple grape juice ain't gonna do nothing to me, bro. What's that? Bro? Black grape? Ka black grape? I could pick that. Ain't nothing. Right? So I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that. You know? So I'm thinking, I'm like, yo, okay, I'm gonna be good. Bro, this was some bad, I don't know what they put in that stuff, but that took me out for a good couple months, bro. That was that experimental chemotherapy was just like some deadly ass poison, man.
Yeah.
I was literally taken off guard by what that was, and I was thinking to myself, I can't believe that. I can't believe that I've like gone through this, because, bro, that month after, so I basically did that second chemo up until Christmas time. During that time, there's a whole lot of emotional things I was going through. You know, stress with the girl, stress with the cancer not working.
She's still around?
Nah, I don't even know.
No, I mean, at this point, was she still around? Or she
was still around. She was still around until like kind of the endish.
Yeah.
Like I said, she was tapering off as it progressed. But like obviously the chemo wasn't working during that second round.
Yeah.
And like, you know, at home was a bit weird because it was like, you know, there's all this kind of weird turbulence in terms of the family dynamic now.
Yeah.
It was like I felt very kind of alone in the situation. There's a lot of emotions you go through when you go through cancer. There's a lot of things that you don't realize sneak up on you. You know, like things that you wouldn't usually think of in day-to-day life, like being lonely. Yeah. Like, bro, men don't really think like that, but then also they do. But then they ignore it. Yeah. And the thing is with chemo and with cancer, is that you can't ignore it. Like every day-to-day life, you can kind of ignore you're lonely. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can kind of like go on the bus, you can listen to music, you can talk to a couple friends here and there, and you go and play your games, and you kind of feel accepted in your own bubble. But when you're in a hospital bed, you're sitting there, laying there by yourself, you ain't got you're looking at a ceiling, bro. You can't move. Your muscles have atrophied, so you can't even walk up to the go toilet. You know what I mean? Focusing wise, you can't focus on nothing. You know, there's a lot of turmoil you go through emotionally as a man, and you start bridging off different versions of yourself, which kind of all have different opinions on how if you'll live, if you're not gonna live, why you're here in the first place, did you do something wrong? Start asking all these questions, and then during this Christmas time, it's just very traumatic.
Did you question God, or did you?
No, I don't think so. No. I thought, you know, everything happens for a reason. But during this time, I think I was quite angry at myself. I think I was quite angry that I wasn't. I might have not been living life how I was supposed to. You know? You ask a lot of questions in terms of like, what was my purpose? You know, I'm 19 years old, bro. Yeah. What was my purpose? To die? And I thought to myself like, damn, that can't be. That don't sound right. But ultimately, I thought to myself, okay, well, let me see where this goes. But it boiled down to that third chemo, and that's when it really took a dive. Yeah. And it took a dive deep. You know what I'm saying? And I remember going through that chemo, and I was stressed. I was going through significant stress in terms of like my body was just completely in pain, like agonizing pain. I remember so I did from like September, like October, November, December. I think I had 3 weeks off, and I restarted in like February.
What, the same chemo?
Different. That was the experimental one. So this is my third chemo, right? And this third chemo set me on some real tough business. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, at first, like I said, I was looking at it like, hey, it ain't gonna be nothing. You know, this is gonna be nothing. And they say, oh, really? Got me in a chokehold.
Sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Like, oh, I'm nothing, baby. I'm nothing. I'll show you who's a PIMP, baby. And I was like, oh, damn, man, what the? And I was like, yo, what is this? And I remember like I was in agony. Yeah. Like 6 weeks of pure agony. And this is when I went through probably one of the worst times. It was like I had a cut that wouldn't heal, and it was bleeding. And it was like every single day I was in so much pain, so much pain that like it was almost, oh man, I can't even describe it. It's just so agonizing, the pain I was in. Because when you go through chemo, you got to remember you have no immune system, and you also have no platelets. Platelets are basically there's an internal like fluid inside you that helps you clot.
Yeah.
So any cuts that you have,
it heals.
It'll heal it, right? It's supposed to seal it, and that's why you get like scabs.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. You ain't got none of that. So your wounds, any cut, any nosebleed, they stay open for as long as you have that chemo in you, and you have no platelets. So if like say I had a nosebleed once during my second chemo or third, I think it was the second, that lasted 6 hours.
Damn.
And that was agonizing, bro.
Yeah.
They had to shove like a plug in my nose.
Yeah.
Bro, it's so agonizing. Bro, when someone forcefully pushing something like that to plug your nose because it's so full of blood, and they gave me like two full rounds of platelets, still didn't work. They gave me something else and it still didn't work. So during this time I had this other cut, and I was bleeding all the time, and I was like in so much agony that they had to put me on these drugs. So basically it was like legal heroin, which is Oxycontin. So they had me on Oxycontin, like a good bottle a week of Oxycontin, bro, and I turned into a straight crackhead, bro. I was a crackhead, bro. I saw my life, bro. I was a crackhead, bro. I look at myself and I'm like, God damn, this man a crackhead, bro. My eyes were good. I swear, I'll show you pictures, bro. I became a crackhead. And I was like bugging out, bro. I was like, but it was like it made me mental, bro. I was like, bro, I'm a crackhead, bro. What? And I know there's two parts of me. There's the crackhead part during that time because it's all on this like Oxycontin, bro. These painkillers, and then there's the normal part of me that because it's like, bro, this man's a crackhead, bro. Like just completely judging me. Like any my friends will come over. Hey, what's up, man? What you got any weed? You got weed, man. I'm scratching, and I'm like, and bro, you got I got all these rashes as well because it's like obviously there's some medication that don't work with you. So I was getting bare rashes. I'm scratching, and you know what I mean. It's like, I'm hella skinny, bro. I'm like my face looks gone, and my eyes are sunken in. You know what I'm saying? I walk up to you, you'll be like, bro, get away from me. I was like, and I'm like.
Something alright? Something alright, yeah.
I was like, man, could you help me go toilet? And my best friend would be like, shut up, bro. Move, bro. You had to, bro. I'm a friend. I was like, man, I'm your friend. Help your brother out. You know, and I'm weird anyway, so it just amplified my weirdness. And I'm like, I was full on crackhead mode there during that time.
So
it's pure crackhead.
When did it come to an end? When did the doctor say to you,
oh, bro, this was in a while, bro. I'm only 3 months in. Yeah, man, it was like a good 8 months, 9 months, bro.
So you were in hospital for 9 months?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Taking all them drugs in.
Bruv, so that drugs was only that period when I was on the third chemo because I was in some agony, bruv.
Yeah.
And obviously I got over that, bruv. I didn't. I remember coming off of it, that drug, that Oxycontin. Bruv, it took me, I didn't sleep for 13 days.
13 days?
2 weeks I did not sleep, bruv. My brain was wide awake.
Yeah.
Like a crackhead. I was seeing shit.
This is what the
It was like you know, like Dave Chappelle. There's like versions of me popping up on my shoulder. Hey man, how about you go get McDonald's? And then another version. Do you like it? You like it when you see booty, man. I love booty. Booty is delicious. Man.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like getting a real like crackhead experience, you know. It's like I paid to be a crackhead for a good couple months, bro. So obviously 13 days go by.
Okay, look, I'm sweating now. Come on, man. Come on, let's get to it.
So 13 days go by. This is how I see my experience. 13 days go by. I'm recovered. I'm like, okay, cool. The last of the voices have disappeared. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm chilling out. I'm like, all right, Bernie Mac can stop talking to me through the TV. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just relaxing there. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, I don't hear nobody. Why am I speaking like Bernie Mac? And then I'm like, okay, I'm cool. And then they're like, all right, so we ain't got many options for you left. Like, I've done 3 chemos now. Even the experimental version doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean it don't work? And then they're telling me, they're like, yeah, so we're gonna have to sit you down and have a proper conversation and talk about your survival right now. So I'm like, okay, well, this is interesting. I just recovered from being like severely like malnourished and all this, and my brain isn't all right yet.
Yeah. And
they're like, okay, we're gonna have to have you sit down. And the next procedure you're gonna have to do is radiotherapy. But then they sit me down and I'm like, damn. And they tell me like the first round it was like you got 20% chance of survival. And the next time it's like 15%, you know. And now after I failed this experimental, they're like, it's like 10%.
Yeah.
So I do this. They're like, okay, we're gonna do radiotherapy for you. We're gonna see how we can minimize the growth.
Yeah.
So I had a lump in my stomach and lump in my neck, and they were like, okay, we're gonna have to set you up on this table, and they gave me this mask in it. So it's this mask that you put over your face and then over your shoulders to like hold you still when they're doing the radiotherapy machine. Bro, this shit looked like a scary movie. Like if I show you what this thing looks like, you'd be like, wow, this is creepy. And they were like, so they hook you up in this thing, they click you down, and you just like kind of look like this. Yeah. I mean, so serious. You kind of like, because they have to get you in a position which is like exposes the neck, innit? They gotta get you in a position where it exposes the, so you're like this. So I was sitting there for 2-3 hours. They're like, they said, you're gonna have to do this for 2-3 weeks, right? So imagine 2-3 weeks.
You're gonna make me spit my drink out.
Bro, I'm telling you, I'm like, and you have to sit there for like an hour or 2, bro. And obviously I'm like, oh, this is embarrassing, bro. But they're like, oh, we're gonna do this treatment. They're bare serious. I'm just like, no, yeah. And I'm just thinking about every single time I go sit in that table, yeah. And they're like, do you want us to play some music, bro? I'm sorry. I look like a ghost. And all you can see is the light above you, and you hear like Barry White in the background. And I'm just like, bro, I want to tell them to turn off this damn radio, bro. This is Barry White. Man, this is difficult. Don't get me soothing voice. But I was like, so like 2 weeks of that, and they were like, okay, right, it's only minimized it a little bit. And they're like, okay, your chance of survival now is 5%. And I'm like, oh. But obviously, because I've got such a positive, like I'm naturally positive. It's not like I'm positive because of because I'm going through this. It's just like, you know what, if it happens, it happens. And like I get to this stage where I'm like, okay, all right, fine, 5% survival. Let's see what happens with the odds anyway, And they're like, we've got one last opportunity for you to kind of come out of this with a good survival rate, or like just a good quality of life. So we're gonna have to do a stem cell transplant. So I've done this radiotherapy now, and they say, your last kind of step that we've got after we've given you this survival rate is a stem cell transplant. And for me, it was like, usually it's quite rare to get a stem cell transplant. And thankfully, out of God's grace and like thankfully for the doctors as well, they managed to find me 2 donors. Wow. The donors were like babies. So that's when it was like, there were babies from like, I think one was from like Germany, and then one was from America, and I think it was just really like crazy that they managed to find that, and it was like, okay, wow, like they're gonna give me these stem cells so that I can live. I remember asking myself, like, who am I worth that I'm worth 2 other lives? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if these babies survived or not. I really want to go on like a journey, and like a journey in real life, like and find the parents or the kids themselves if they're alive and like thank them. You know what I mean? And I like it kind of put me in this headspace that I don't want to waste the life that I've got and the life that I'm being re-given.
Yeah.
And you know, because I was at as low as low. You know what I mean? Like as much as like I saw everything happening, I realized I was like, you know, I could pass away at any moment. Yeah. And they said stem cell transplant is going to be the last opportunity for us to kind of get a resolution on this whole situation that you got going. And obviously during the third chemo, the second chemo, I mean, that's when that cancer changed to acute lymphoblastic lymphoma, which was that's what made it rarer actually, because and that's what lowered my survival rate, because it's like they'd never seen something like that before happen in that regard. Like it was really peculiar. Why did the cancer just completely shift to another cancer? Yeah. And then actually, funnily enough, it switched to a more treatable cancer. So that was what happened which was weird. On the second one.
First it was aggressive,
and then it switched to a more treatable one.
Yeah.
And then even though it switched to a more treatable one, the experimental chemo they gave me afterwards still didn't work. So it was more treatable. It didn't work. It made it smaller, but it was still there. And then obviously the radiotherapy killed it a tiny bit, and then the stem cell transplant was just like the shotgun to the target. Like it's either that or nothing, you know. So they set me up. They get all these stem cells, and then I remember going in admitted that day, and I think I was having like some existential crisis. Like, wow, this is me again. Like I remember I've just done this 3 times already. Like I'm gonna do this again. Like I'm gonna go back into the hospital again for another how many weeks. Like not know when I'm coming out or if I come out. You know what I'm saying? And I remember they gave me these stem cell transplants. They got me ready for everything. Injected me with these. I got a whole video of that as well. Funny enough, I recorded the whole thing. Yeah. Things taste like crap, bro. It was like tastes like metal. Like literally tastes like you're drinking liquid metal. Yeah. And you're like, because it goes through your heart. Yeah. So they did a surgery on me. Oh god, bro, there's parts I missed out. But when they were doing this stem cell, I think it was actually halfway through. When they were doing this stem cell, it's like they push it in through your heart and it goes through a line, but you can taste it. Yeah. It's in your blood, isn't it? It's in your butt. Yeah. It's like your taste buds are fully activated in that one moment. Yeah. And all you taste is metal, and you're like, it makes you feel sick. Yeah. It's like, oh my god, this is disgusting. It's like not what humans should be ingesting at all. Yeah. But it's not like you're actually eating it. It's just like it's in your system. Yeah. So I remember they gave me that, and that was the ticking clock after that. Yeah. After they had given me my stem cells, that was the ticking clock, and that was really kind of
freedom.
To freedom, or the other side.
The other side, yeah.
So yeah, that was one of those situations that was really kind of actually got me in a really existential mood. Like, oh god, like what is happening here, bro? Yeah. What is actually gonna happen here in this next? Because this is my last chance. Yeah. That's how they see it. You know. I think what happened during that time, they did do a surgery on me. It was a very short procedure. It was like really quick. So that's kind of why I brushed over. But the one that I had in my neck, which was bumping out, right? Yeah. They had to cut my neck open. But this whole time I was just local anesthetic. I was awake, bro. I was completely awake, wide awake.
You weren't feeling it?
No, I didn't feel it. Like not them actually cutting me. Yeah. But they didn't tell me that. They didn't tell me until I was on the surgery.
That they're gonna cut you?
No. That. Local anesthetic doesn't mean that you can't, your nerves can't feel it. Yeah. You can feel it. Every single breath. So every time they got like to a nerve, I go, and you feel it shock your whole body. You're like, what? You're like, yeah, you'll be awake. You can't feel pain, but your nerves can still feel shock. Yeah. And I was like, bro, this is good. Like every time. And I remember telling the nurse, like, can you blow? I need some air, bro, because I can smell my own flesh burning. But it was blessed, bro. It was blessed. And yeah, like I remember they took it out, bro. This thing was the size of like 2 golf balls, bro. Like massive, like boom. And it was like I said, can I see it? I'm bare inquisitive like that. I was like, can I see it? And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, I want to see it. And he was like, okay. And they pull it out, they put it in a pan, put it in a little, and I was like, raw, what is that? That was growing inside me. Like, yeah. I was like, raw. It's like, I was like, it looked like some sort of like alien had just popped, it's like an alien egg in there. I was like, bro, that's crazy. It's like, it was white.
Yeah.
It was all white. And I was like, bro, it actually looks like a golf ball.
Yeah.
Every time they would reference it, it's like, it looks like a golf ball. It actually looked like a golf ball.
Wow.
And I was like, bro, this is crazy. So that was the surgery part. Back to the stem cell transplant. I'm in this, you know, ICU unit for the whole period. And I remember sitting there like, right after they had done it, I'm like, why am I alone? And you're alone, bro. That's the machine.
Yeah.
What's going on here, blood? I'm like, and I'm just laying in bed like this. I feel like a pensioner, bro. Like, I'm like grumpy, you know. I'm like, this is long. I'm like, and I'm like, okay, let me try to get some. I'm like, bro, it's just sleepless nights, and I remember like, I was like. So I was like bro, I was really weird, innit? I never used to sleep the way of the hospital bed. Like, you know how there's a hospital bed and you sleep it one way and there's like the headboard. I used to always sleep opposite.
Yeah.
I used to sleep, my head would be where the footboard is.
Yeah.
So I'll be at the bottom and I'm like, bro, what's wrong with you? I'm like, bro, this is just how I sleep, innit? I don't know, something uncomfortable about that side of the bed. I was very specific. And then I remember like my friends would come visit me, and during this time I remember just fading into reality, fading into darkness.
Yeah.
Fading into reality, fading into darkness, bro. And I was just like, yo, this is crazy. This is weird. I don't even know what's happening right now. Like, I think I'm just like in a movie, it almost felt like. And I remember there's a period I was like, bro, I can't eat. One big thing about going through chemo is, bro, you can't eat.
Yeah.
Sometimes. There's this I was doing radiotherapy, so there's this thing called mucositis. It's basically the lining of your esophagus is gone.
Gone.
So when you eat, it protects you from, you know, the
Scratching,
food cutting.
Yeah.
Bro, you drink water, it feels like you're drinking glass.
Oh.
So you can't eat, you can't drink. So how I was fed was through a machine, blood, through my chest. It was lipids, and they would just feed you through that your little chest pipe. And I'm just like, blood.
Which is crazy what they do, man.
It's like a pick line, right? I had 2 lines coming at me. I looked like Robocop. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, you can see this green bag full of food. It's my food, bro. I'm just like, bro, what is wrong? Like, this is crazy. I just remember being like, bro, am I in space?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was sitting there just like looking at my life. I wanted to play this video game, Fight Night Champion. And it's a game that I never beat when I was younger. It's a boxing game.
Yeah.
And I could never beat the main boss. And I was like, I'd get up, like there'll be days and like 1 week I'll be like, okay, I'm playing this game. And I'll lay back down and I'll lose.
Yeah.
And I'll get back up. Maybe a week later, I'll try to play the game again. I'll lose. I'll get a bit further on maybe, but then I'll still lose like against like the main boss again. And like I did that maybe like for 3 or 4 weeks, right? And then I remember on the 4th week, I was like, okay, I'm beating this guy, bro. And I had to think of a strategy.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna back out, punch, back out, punch. And eventually I got to this stage where I was like, yo, I got an opportunity to beat this game. And I was like, bro, am I gonna fall asleep or am I gonna beat this game? I was like, I'm gonna beat this game. All of a sudden, I knock out the main character. I was like, yo, boss fight, done. And I remember being like, yo, I just beat that game. And it took me like 10 years to beat.
Yeah.
And I'm done it. And I'm like, okay, cool, blessed.
Still have to beat this game now.
Yeah. And then I remember I didn't touch that game ever again.
Yeah.
I just left it as it is. And I remember being on that hospital bed, just like kind of like biding my time. It really phased in and out. Like I had friends visit me, and I was the weakest I'd ever been in that whole period of like my journey in cancer.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, wow, this is gonna be a whole like ticket out of here if I make it through it. And I think for a long time I was really betting that I was gonna make it out. Oh, I'm gonna make it out. I'm gonna make it out. And like every single time I felt like that, when the doctors came in and they were like, "Yo, your white blood cells have gone up," I would think that. No. Every single day. No. 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 And there was a point where I really got like deathly ill, and I had sepsis.
Yeah.
So I have no immune system, and I have sepsis. I'm shaking, I'm convulsing, I'm overheating, I'm like got a fever all the time, and I have no immune system. Therefore, like I'm, you know, I've got a blood infection basically. I'm like, what, like, bro, you can't even go to the toilet. It's so demasculating, bro.
Yeah.
So is that emasculating? Yeah, emasculating.
Demasculating.
Is it demasculating?
Yeah, you demasculating.
Yeah. And I was like, bro, I can't go to the toilet, bro, I feel embarrassed, you know what I'm saying? I'm skinny, I ain't got no muscle,
Yeah.
like I look gaunt, you know what I mean? Like every single time my friends see me, I'm sleeping, you know what I'm saying? And I just feel like the worst part every day.
Yeah. But you never say to yourself, I'm gonna die, or
No, actually, funny enough, yeah. I got to a point where I was like, I'm not gonna die. Then I got to a point where I'm like, oh, I might die. And I think I remember that the night that happened is like I remember I was laying in bed. It was like really early, 3 a.m. in the morning or so. So I was on some morphine and a lot of other drugs. And I remember just being like, bruv, this is long. And I remember phasing in and out of tiredness. And I look over to my left and I see this figure. And it's like right in the corner. This corner is pitch black. Everything around it's kind of illuminated. I'm like looking at this corner like, bro, this is hella dark. What is that? And I didn't say like, oh, who is that? I was like, what is that? I was like, what is that? And it felt like something was there watching me, innit? And I just stared at it, bro, and I was like, oh my God. It was like, it almost felt like death, just like kind of peering over me. And I remember I was just like, bro, this is crazy, bro. I closed my eyes for a good like minute and it was gone when I looked up. It was just like normal lighting, you know? But it was just, in that moment, it was pitch black.
Yeah.
Like almost like you couldn't see the corner of the, like it was like a cupboard there. And it was like, you could see it, but you couldn't see it. You couldn't see the corner of where the cupboard, and then after you could see it, it was like that the opacity had been tuned down to 0. And I was like, brother, what is there? And then that's when I was like, okay, well, that's a sign. And I thought to myself, well, you know, I've been here for like 4 weeks. You know what I mean? I beat this game, yeah, sure, whatever. You know, I had gotten all these infections. I'm feeling the worst of the worst. Like every single day when I get up to go to the toilet, it's embarrassing. It's like humiliating, isn't it? You look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, bro, who am I? I didn't recognize myself. You know what I'm saying? I looked literally like gaunt, like a ghost, like a skeleton. Yeah. Because I haven't eaten in how many months, properly at least. You know, like I craved food, I craved water. Water was like, I'm so thirsty right now, I can't drink. Because if I drink, I'm feeling all this agony down my esophagus. If I eat, bro, I can't eat, I have no stomach. And then I remember just being like, this is mad. Okay, right. I've been telling myself, oh, I'm gonna live. When I finally let go of that, I'm gonna live. And I said, okay, well, I'm okay with dying now. I think the day after, the doctors came in, and they were like, good news! Seems like your white blood cells have come in. So you've got 0.01 or 0.1 in for your blood cells. You can go outside the room. So my counts are up today, guys. I'm a bit shaky, but I'm going to be able to go and leave my room. So I'm going to snap it now. I think this was 6 weeks.
Wow.
That I was stuck. Like, this was way before COVID, I imagine. Like, 6 weeks in a room, bro. And you're just staring at the ceiling. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm like, I've been told, like, yo, you can go outside. Yeah. Standing up for the first time. Taking out my pump. Daniel's just chilling. And I remember that day I went outside and I just went to the entertainment room and like people had to help. I was shaking. I couldn't even walk. Like I had to grab on my it's like the machine that carries all the saline and all that, all the medicine. And I was carrying that, I was holding that like I was walking like a grandpa, bro. And I remember just going out, I was like, bro, this is crazy, what is going on, bro? I can't believe it. I'm walking outside of the room that I've been stuck in for like 6 weeks. And I was like, yo, this is mad. I want to go to the rooftop garden, bro. And there's a rooftop garden where I was staying. Small, but it was like a nice little spot. I remember it was a sunny day. And I was like, bro, imagine if I never accepted that I was going to die. Like, if I just kept telling myself lies. Like, it was like almost, I needed to be humbled.
Yeah.
I think God said, you need to be humbled, bro. Like, just because you think you can doesn't mean you can. That's up to me. And I was like, yeah, God, well, you're right.
So,
and I had to accept that that is a possibility in my life. That's something that might possibly happen. I had to say, I lived a decent life for how old I am.
Yeah.
I got to drive a car. I had, I've had girlfriends, you know what I'm saying? That's more than a lot of guys, thankfully.
Yeah.
I've had good friends in my life. I've had a family, although, there's always issues in families and friends and all of that. It doesn't matter, like, I had it. You know what I'm saying? I had to appreciate those little things. And then I had to accept, like, okay, well, I'm going to have to lose all those things as well. But it's not a loss. It's like I gained it.
Yeah.
And me passing away is almost like it's a gift that I left that behind. Like, I did impact people positively in a sense, because I remember people were like, yo, you left a mark. You know what I'm saying? And I think I learned a lot in that day. Is like, sometimes you do have to let go of things that aren't gonna be good for you in the future. And if that means also your own ego, then yeah. And if it also means people, then yeah, I learned a lot about people and friends and fake friends in that experience. Like, it's people who say that, oh, we're gonna come, gonna be there for you, didn't come.
Yeah.
It's people who told, a lot of wishful thinking, who said this and said that, and none of it came to fruition. There's a lot of love that was there that really wasn't there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of falsities that were said and were made out to be truths, but they weren't. You know what I'm saying? So I think you learn a lot, especially as a man. I didn't learn everything. I think a lot of my journey was a lot more so afterwards as well, like more so then. But I think for a lot of the emotional things in that period, I learned.
So what now? What is next for you? Like, what would you say to young people out there that's struggling with cancer, that's got cancer, struggling with cancer, gonna make it through cancer, and they may not make it through cancer? What short advice would you give to that person, real quick?
I think it's one of these things that when you get given an ultimatum, a diagnosis like cancer, it's never going to be easy. But what things in life are easy? A lot of the time, we do things because we want to do them, even if it is hard. And it's kind of the same thing with cancer. Try your best at it. See if you can beat it. Don't give up straight away. Don't believe that there's no hope. Just try.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people give up faith when it comes to things like, life-threatening diseases. They give up the power to continue because they think they've lost it all. But people work hard for things that they want, that they can't see. You know what I mean? People work hard to be rich. People work hard to have a family, to make, things that you can't see there yet. They're not there yet. You can't see yourself being rich yet if you start from poor. You can't see yourself with a family if you're still living with your mum. But you still work towards those things. Same thing goes with life and death.
So what helped you to make you become a better man?
I think acceptance and being able to be emotional and vulnerable with myself first. I think when I realized that being vulnerable and emotional was a benefit to me is when I was going through cancer, and then even recently as well, in relationships as well. You learn, when you learn to communicate with yourself, you're able to understand what you really need as a man, as a person in fact. Like, you understand what you want, what your boundaries are, what your responsibilities are as a person, and you give far more ability to yourself in the future and to others when you're able to communicate and be a bit more vulnerable in understanding who you are.
What changes do you have in your outlook on life after cancer?
I think just living life to how you want to live it. How you see life, a lot of the time is imagination. A lot of the time you imagine yourself doing this, being this successful person, driving the fastest car, but how are you going to get there if you don't actually do it? Don't do something to try do it. You know what I mean? I think a lot of us hold ourselves back, even including me till now.
Yeah.
You hold yourself back, you procrastinate, you become complacent. You don't see what's in front of you when it's right there.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking about a future that is not real. It's like imagination. It's like, yeah, it's better in your head. But the reality is never, just because it looks good, doesn't necessarily be that feeling when you have it in real life. You could get that nice BMW sports car, that Porsche, right? In your head, oh, I'm gonna look so cool, I'm gonna feel so cool when I get it. And then you hop into it, and then after 2 months, what?
Gets boring.
Same thing with shoes, sneakers.
Yeah.
You get that first pair of sneakers,
Keep it clean.
and you're like, oh yeah, and
Get
then
the creases out next minute.
6 weeks later, boom, it's like it's mash up like any other sneaker.
No one cares.
Same goes for your life though.
Yeah.
Just because you got this image, or you're gonna be the most successful person here, and it's gonna be this beautiful experience, you're gonna have all the riches and all the fame, doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna feel happy when you get there.
Yeah.
Feel happy where you are now, and build on that in real life. We're all consumed so much by like socials, comparing other people's lives to our own. But what makes you happy now and here? What makes you happy as you walk outside your door? What makes you happy? Is it seeing your mum smile? Is it seeing your daughter do something which you're proud of? You know what I mean? That is what really matters. The riches, all of that don't matter.
It's like saying, don't let your past, or your future dominate or take away your now.
Yeah.
Because your past is gone.
Yeah.
You can't get it back. All the mistakes you made in the past, you can't rectify. It's done. Your future is not promised.
Exactly.
As you knew. Yeah?
Exactly.
The only thing you got is your now. Keep hold of your now and stop allowing people and places and things to take away your now. Live your life for your now. Where can we find you?
Find me. So I've got a podcast. I haven't posted on it as much, but I'm gonna start reposting on it. It's Blessings to Lessons. So B2L podcast on Instagram. So B, a number 2 and an L, and then podcast on Instagram. Also, my socials is Lajatu, LAJAATU. And if you want to check out my photography page as well, it's Coloured Studios, CLRD Studios on Instagram. Yeah, I got a YouTube. It's also Blessings to Lessons. Oh, loud man, that's loud.
It's loud, bro.
Dang.
Yeah, loud that is.
Bro, is that every day?
Yeah, every day, man. Every day! To this
Every
day! To this day!
To this day! To this day!
But yeah, you can catch me on
YouTube.
On YouTube as well. It's Lejar, Project Lejar, and I'm gonna start posting more stuff this year.
Listen,
a lot more stuff, man.
Oh, Jay, listen, man. It's been a pleasure, man. It's this guy. My belly's hurting me. I need to spat the drink out my nose.
Allow it!
It's been a pleasure talking to you, bro.
No, I'm loving it,
Right,
man. It's all
thank you
blessed,
for
man.
coming on. And you know what? It's good as well. You can laugh about this thing. You can sit and laugh. You was laughing at the wrong moments.
Bro, I'm telling you, it is what it is, man. You have to
It
be
is what it
positive
is.
as well.
Thank you for coming on Clippers on
Nah, it's all
podcast.
good,
Yeah,
man. It's all good.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. Yeah. Keep going forward. Push it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Puma.
Straight there, man.
Straight.
Straight.
I
love that, man. That's
Thank
good.
you, brother, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Actually, we're out.
Peace out,
Boom.
people.
We're out.
Love.
Yes, people, you're still here. that means you got to the end of this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, to tell that friend, to tell that friend down yes sir, to tell another friend. Straight. Oh, don't forget. You can ring my bell. You can ring my bell, my bell. Ding, 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 ding. I've got to sing the old tune. Bless, I'm out. Bye.